With so many exams around the corner, I am very sure all of you must be preparing pretty fiercely. And welcome to another session with me. Now that the preparation is on, and now that we have all the government exams and all the competitive exams around the corner, let us begin with another session. Hi, welcome to another session with me on this channel. And in today's session, we would be looking on the history of Kakatiya Empire. And this portion or this content which is available, it is useful for UPSC, APPSC, TSPSC, other competitive exams as well. So I really hope you enjoy the presentation that is being made out of passion to reach at least a few who is looking for something on these exams, right? You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook on the IDs mentioned below. Right, and to talk about myself, I am Varun. I work as a developer, but I am also an aspirant just like you, and I am aspiring to clear my class one service. And I have started this channel because I believe that education is your mind, it's everyone's birthright, and we should not let a problem or any condition snatch away, education from us. Education, intelligence, hard work, they are all our birthright, and I don't think anyone has the authority to snatch it from us, even if you do not have some amount, even if there's a financial problem or a physical problem. You should have the access to all the materials that you're looking at, and I'm only striving to help you with that. And apart from this, most of the channels that I see on YouTube, they are either the ones which have quality, they are either paid, and the ones which are for free either do not have quality, or if you want to look at the entire video, you have to subscribe to them with some payment. So this channel, I'm trying to come up with the entire course content, and I'm looking for a mutual benefit. I'm just trying to put my education to a better use by sharing the knowledge that I have to you people as well. Just trying to share, teach, and learn. That's it. I hope this helps at least a few, and I really want to wish all of you all the best on your journey, right? So this is the part that we would be talking about right now. Okay, so Kakatiyas ruled the 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 portions of earlier Tamil Nadu, present Andhra Pradesh, a bit of Maharashtra. So they had their spread over different areas, and this is the script that we can see here. This is how the Kakatiyas script was actually when it was beginning. Okay, and we have been able to decipher things from this. And this is a question that you have in UPSC 2017 GS. Which of the following was a very important seaport of Kakatiya kingdom? Please check about it and write about it in the comment section below. So now let us begin understanding the Kakatiya Empire. So as we all know, Kakatiya belonged to the place of Andhra Pradesh, which is even the modern or the current Andhra Pradesh. Okay, and they ruled from 10th century to the first quarter of 14th century AD. That was almost for 350 plus years. Even today, the memory of Kakatiya rule, we remember them. The entire Andhra is forever, we would forever remember them thanks to the way they ruled and the way they have shaped history for the Telugu speaking people. They were at first feudatories of Western Chalukyas of Kalyana, okay, and then with having got a very small territory to rule in Varangal, they established their kingdom in Varangal. So Prataparudra I was the person who established a sovereign dynasty. But then this dynasty also saw some very powerful leaders like Ganapathy Devil and Rudramadevi. We'll talk about them as we keep going ahead. So the family of rulers was called Kakatiyas, and as they were known to have worshipped the goddess Kakati. So because they worshipped the goddess Kakati, they were known as Kakatiyas. And they are also known as worshippers of Swayambhu Deva. Swayambhu Deva is none else than Shiva. Okay. The epigraphs further state that Kakatiyas were originally of Samrata or Rashtrakuta family, and hence they were Chaturdha Kulajas or Shudras. That is what the history books tell us. Chaturdha Kulajas is nothing but Shudras. Okay. So Kakatiyas basically were Shudras of Chaturdha Kulaja clan or caste. So during the 9th and 10th century, we see that they were subordinates or they were one step lower or they were under the power of Rashtrakutas. But when Rashtrakutas, fell to the Kalyanis to the Chalukyas of Kalyani, Kakatiyas became their feudatories or Mahamandaleshwaras under Chalukyas of Kalyani. So basically, till then they were under Rashtrakutas, and when Rashtrakutas were overthrown by the Chalukyas of Kalyani, they became feudatories to Chalukyas of Kalyani. Simple. So it was Prola too, who established Kakatiya dynasty as a sovereign dynasty, and Rudradeva was the person who ruled from AD 1158 to 1195, which is almost up to 30 years, and was the son and successor of Prola too. And Prola was the founder of Kakatiya lineage as he declared independence and started his own independent rule. So Prola is the person who started his independent rule, while the other person that we were talking about, Prataparudra I, was the person who established a sovereign dynasty, and Prola was the person who declared his dynasty independent. Okay, so these are the two names that you have to remember. So now let us just take a look at different rulers we have and what is it that they did towards their empire. So the first one is Betaraja I, who founded the dynasty. He ruled as a feudatory for the chief of Kalyani Chalukyas. He established his capital at Koravi. This is important, and he was succeeded by his son, that is Prolaraja I. Now, talking about Prolaraja, he ruled as a feudatory of Kalyani Chalukyas once again, and he was a devotee of Shiva. And he built the Kesari Tatakam, which is a temple, okay? And he got hereditary rights of Anmakonda Vishaya from Someshwara of Kalyani Chalukyas. Now, this Kesari Tatakam, which is there, you also have, this is also something to do with water conservation technique, because this area is a dry stretch of land. So Kakatiyas are very famous for constructing water tanks and and they came up with different water conservation techniques to ensure that their people always had water, right? Then it was Betaraja too. He also ruled as a feudatory to Kalyani Chalukyas, and he built a very huge tank at Anmakonda. Prola too, as we know, he was the first independent ruler who declared himself independent of any rule after Betaraja II. So the first three rulers were under Kalyani Chalukyas, and from Prola II, we see that the kingdom has become independent. Now, it is Rudradeva that we would be talking about. So this guy Rudradeva that we would be talking about, his name is mentioned on the famous inscription in Rudreswara temple at Anmakonda, and he was a great patron of art, literature, and he authored the Niti Sara in Sanskrit, that is Rudradeva. And he also constructed the majestic Rudreswara temple in Anmakonda. So we also see that most of the development, it could be art or architecture or temples or any other buildings, most of them have been put up at Anmakonda. Okay, then you have Mahadeva. Mahadeva was succeeded by his brother Rudradeva, but only for 3 years. Okay, sorry, Mahadeva was not succeeded. Mahadeva succeeded his brother Rudradeva, but only for 3 years. But then he died when he was trying to conquer the Yadava capital Devagiri. Then we have one of the greatest rulers of Kakatiya history, that is Ganapathy Deva. And he ruled for a pretty long time. His famous court poet was Tikkanna Somayajalu, and he also assumed the title of Raya Gajakesari. So Raya Gajakesari is the title that was given to Ganapathy Deva. And he was also a great patron of trade and commerce, and he issued Abhya Sasanam at Motupalli. Okay, so Abhya Sasanam is an important word, and this was issued by Ganapathy Deva in the court of Motupalli, at the fort of Motupalli. Then we have Rani Rudramadevi. Now, she is the first woman emperor in the history of Kakatiyan Empire, but then we see that she has faced a lot of opposition, not only by her own people, but also all the feudatories of Kakatiyan Empire and all those who were allies of Kakatiyan Empire. They wanted to remove Rani Rudramadevi from the power or from the rule, because they felt that it was inferior to be ruled under a woman. So we see this is where we see certain people like Gona Ganna Reddy and other people who have helped Rani Rudramadevi during her reign. And even the very famous traveler Marco Polo visited Motapalli during her reign. Then we have Prataparudra, who was son of Rani Rudramadevi's daughter. Basically, you can say that he was her grandson. But then, according to Prolaya Nayaka Prataparudra copper plate inscription, you have that Prataparudra committed suicide on the bank of river Narmada because he could not tolerate the humiliation and defeat against Delhi Sultanate ruler Ghiyazuddin Tughlaq. So it directly means that Kakatiyan Empire was overthrown by the Tughlaq dynasty, And Pratap Rudra was the last person after Rani Rudramadevi, and he committed suicide, and thus we see the demise or we see the fall of Kakatiyan empire that ruled for almost 3 centuries and was able to carve a successful history for the state of current Andhra Pradesh or even current Telangana. Now, there are some very famous authors like Vidyanatha, Jayapasaneni, Tikkanna, Mantri Bhaskara, Gona Buddhareddy, Palkuriki Somanatha. You have all these people. Okay, Palkuriki Somanatha, who is a very famous author, he wrote Basava Puranam, and this book is very important. Okay, apart from this, you also have some other books, as you are able to see, like Mantri Bhaskara wrote Bhaskara Ramayan, Gona Buddha Reddy wrote Ranganatha Ramayanam. All these are important. Okay, so because the names are confusing, you might have the name of the author versus the name of the book to be mapped. Then their temple architecture. Now we'll talk a bit about their art and architecture. They have some very famous temples that they've constructed. One of the most famous being Thousand Pillar Temple. It reflects the great talent, or it reflects the great command they had on art, or probably on architecture, right? And this is the evolution of Kakatiyan architectural style. The Thousand Pillar Temple is a classical example to talk about. Now, the great Rudreswara temple, also which people talk about, which is also in Warangal, it was built by Recharla Rudra, who is the commander in chief of Ganapathy Devil. All right, so these two are some very famous temples. The first one being the Thousand Pillar Temple, and the second one being the Rudreswara Temple, built by the commander in chief of Ganapathy Devil. Then, when you talk about the way they have constructed temples, we see that while constructing the main structure of Vimana, uh, granite and sandstone was used because they would require a lot of strength as they are the foundation of any temple. And while constructing the other superstructures, they would use bricks and lime, and they also used black granite for pillars and lintels and decorative motifs and icons. So materials were used according to where it was required. It's not like the entire pillars were built just on marble, just because they had a lot of marble. So they did a lot of structural study right in those days when they were building temples. Then you have the Gomateshwara temple at Manthani, the Arakeshwara temple, and the Nameshwara temple at Pillalamari, and the temple at Naguladu are also the masterpieces of Kakatiyan style of architecture. And then you have the temple of Nandigonda and the Narsimha temple. This is at Parivela near Nalgonda. Again, this is also part of Telangana state, and they contain richly furnished mandapa pillars and ceilings. Now, when I say richly furnished, you will be able to see that the carvings on these pillars are magnificent. Okay, the Kakatiyas also extended patronage to art of paintings. The traces of paintings that are found on ceilings of the pillared halls of temples at Ghanapur and Palampet, and also the defaced painting of churning of milk ocean. I hope you all know about the churning of milk ocean. That's the Hindu mythology that you can see, wherein the gods and the demons on the other side, they were churning the milk of ocean. All right, and that is when poison came out to be into existence. So this is a story about churning of milk in ancient Hindu mythology. So even that painting is found on the ceiling of Sabha Mandapa of Nameshwara temple at Pillalamari. So it would not be wrong to say that these people were extraordinary in terms of art, architecture, and also painting. So this great empire, which ruled almost from 1000 to 1300 century, right? It was a period of transition wherein things changed forever. You can talk of agriculture, commerce, trade. They just flourished. They reached their top point, that is the zenith. And then in the late or in the mid 13th century, because of numerous attacks from Delhi Sultanate and other rulers, other small rulers in their territory, we see that this empire came to an end finally by 1323 AD, when Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq captured the city of Warangal, and we see Rani Rudramadevi's grandson had committed suicide on the bank of river Narmada. So this is the in and out about Kakatiyan Empire. So I hope you have enjoyed watching this. And in the next session, we'll also talk about the Qutub Shahi dynasty, We'll also talk about the 5 Deccan Sultanates. Okay, so that is it for this video. I really hope you have enjoyed watching something and you have added at least some value to your preparation. I would like to wish all of you and all the very best for the exam that you're about to take up. And if in case you have liked the video, you can hit the like button for regular updates. Please hit the subscribe button, which is written in red color below. And finally, if you're looking for regular updates, you can hit the bell icon. All the very best. Have a great day ahead.